Welcome to China, but maybe not the China you think you know. Forget what you've seen in the headlines for just a moment. We're going beyond the Great Wall, past the sprawling megacities, and diving deep into a land of myth, legend, and mind-blowing natural beauty. We're talking about floating mountains so surreal they inspired the world of Avatar in Zhangjiajie. We're exploring ancient river towns where time seems to stand still, and sacred peaks where martial arts masters learn to fly. In this journey, we're uncovering some of China's most incredible hidden gems, from otherworldly stone forests to colossal waterfalls that shake the very ground you stand on. This is a side of the country that will challenge your perceptions and leave you absolutely speechless. So, if you're ready for an adventure that feels like stepping into another world, you've come to the right place. We are Magical Planet, and we bring the world's most awe-inspiring destinations right to your screen. Let's get started. On the banks of the Tuo River, time itself seems to have forgotten the town of Fenghuang. Its wooden houses, perched precariously on stilts, have stood for over 1,300 years, watching dynasties rise and fall. Why does it survive? Because it was born from a desire to live in perfect harmony with the water, not to conquer it. The town was built by the Miao and Tujia people, its narrow stone alleys and bridges designed to follow the river's gentle curves. This wasn't a fortress built from fear, but a living poem written in wood and stone. Today, Fenghuang is not a relic. It is a living museum, where the whispers of ancient poets still echo on the water's surface. Zhangjiajie National Forest Park. Imagine a forest not of trees, but of over 3,000 towering sandstone pillars, with some piercing the clouds at more than 650 feet high. This is Zhangjiajie, a landscape so profoundly alien, it was chosen as the blueprint for the floating mountains of Pandora in the film Avatar. But what force could sculpt such a surreal world? It wasn't the ambition of an emperor, but the patient, relentless power of nature itself. For 380 million years, water and ice have acted as a cosmic chisel, eroding the stone to reveal these silent, majestic sentinels. They stand as a testament to geological time, a place where the earth itself seems to breathe and reach for the heavens. To walk among them is to feel like a guest in a world forged by gods. Emperors, generals, and humble artisans all contributed, driven by a desire for divine favor and spiritual merit. The how is almost unimaginable: armies of craftsmen suspended on rickety scaffolding, painstakingly chipping away at the mountain face, day after day, century after century. Each statue, from the smallest 1-inch carving to the 57-foot-tall Vairocana Buddha, is a prayer frozen in time, a symphony of devotion on a monumental scale. Witness the raw, untamed power of the Yellow River. At the Hukou Waterfall, the river, stretching nearly 1,000 feet wide, is violently forced through a narrow gorge just 100 feet across. The result is the world's largest yellow waterfall, a thunderous explosion of water that seems to shake the very foundations of the earth. This isn't a creation of man, but a display of nature's awesome and terrifying force. It's a reminder that the river that nurtured Chinese civilization can also be its most formidable adversary. To stand here is to feel the planet's pulse, a raw, chaotic energy that is both breathtaking and humbling. High in the Tibetan plateau, at an altitude of over 12,000 feet, lies a body of water so pure it's known as the Green Water. This is Bong Kuo, a sacred lake cradled by snow-capped mountains. At its heart lies a tiny island, home to the 1,500-year-old Sozong Monastery. The motivation here wasn't conquest or glory, but a deep spiritual yearning for a place of absolute purity, far from the troubles of the world. Reaching it required immense effort, a pilgrimage across harsh terrain. The lake isn't just a geographical feature. It's considered a gateway to a higher consciousness, a sapphire jewel dropped by the gods onto the roof of the world. Imagine a time before a single Buddhist temple existed in China. Then, in 68 AD, 2 Indian monks arrived, carrying sacred scriptures on the back of a white horse. To honor this momentous event, the emperor ordered the construction of the White Horse Temple. This makes it, by tradition, the very first Buddhist temple in all of China, the cradle of a faith that would transform a nation. Construction wasn't about scale, but about significance. It was a conscious act to plant a seed of foreign wisdom on Chinese soil. This temple is not just a building. It is ground zero for Chinese Buddhism, a hallowed site where a 2,000-year-old spiritual journey began. On one side, a sacred mountain. On the other, an engineering marvel that has functioned perfectly for over 2,200 years. This is the dual wonder of Mount Qingcheng and Dujiangyan. The shocking fact: the Dujiangyan irrigation system controls the mighty Min River without a single dam. What was the ambition? It was a revolutionary idea. Not to fight the river, but to work with it. A governor named Li Bing designed a system of levees and channels that automatically divides the water, preventing floods and irrigating 5,300 square kilometers of farmland. This feat of hydraulic genius transformed the region into the breadbasket of China. Just above it, Mount Qingcheng, the birthplace of Taoism, stands as a spiritual guardian, a perfect union of human ingenuity and natural harmony. This is not just a mountain range. It is the legendary birthplace of Tai Chi, the Wudang Mountains. A complex of 72 peaks are home to a monastic tradition stretching back over 2,000 years. The motivation, a quest for immortality and enlightenment through the perfection of mind, body, and spirit. Legends tell of the Taoist master Zhangjiajie, who observed a crane fighting a snake and from it conceived the fluid, powerful movements of Tai Chi. The How involved generations of monks building palaces and temples in perfect alignment with the landscape's energy, or Qi. Wudang is more than rock and forest. It is a living sanctuary of philosophy and martial arts, where the air itself seems to whisper the secrets of balance and inner power. For 500 years, this was the most sacred place on earth for the Chinese Empire. The Temple of Heaven is not a temple for the people, but an altar where the Emperor, the Son of Heaven, would personally pray for a good harvest. The shocking ambition to create a perfect cosmic diagram on Earth. The entire complex is a masterpiece of numerology and symbolism. Round buildings representing heaven sit on square bases representing Earth. The famous Hall of Prayer for Good Harvests was built entirely of wood, without a single nail. Its 28 massive pillars representing the seasons, months, and hours of the day. This was a place where one man shouldered the fate of an entire nation, performing sacred rituals to maintain the delicate balance between the human world and the divine cosmos. Imagine climbing a staircase to the heavens, so high that you stand above a sea of clouds. This is Mount Emei, one of the 4 sacred Buddhist mountains of China, rising to an astonishing 10,167 feet. Its first temple was built here in the 1st century AD, making it home to the first Buddhist temple on the mountain. The motivation was a profound act of devotion to build a place of worship as close to the heavens as possible. The human cost was generations of monks and pilgrims braving treacherous paths and extreme weather. The ultimate reward? Witnessing the Buddha's halo, a rare atmospheric phenomenon where a spectator's own shadow is cast onto the clouds below, encircled by a rainbow, a sight believed to be a sign of personal enlightenment. For over 3,000 years, this mountain has been more than a geological feature. It has been a political and religious altar of supreme importance. Mount Tai is the most revered of China's 5 great mountains, a place where no less than 72 emperors made the arduous pilgrimage to its summit to legitimize their rule. Was absolute. To climb Mount Tai was to communicate directly with heaven and declare oneself the true ruler of the land. The path to the top is a grueling 6,660 stone steps, a journey that was both a physical test and a spiritual declaration. Mount Tai is not just a mountain. It is a vertical timeline of Chinese history. Its stones inscribed with the prayers, poems, and ambitions of emperors and scholars for millennia. Above, there is heaven. Below, there are Suzhou and Hangzhou. This ancient proverb captures the essence of a city that has been considered China's paradise on Earth for over a millennium. At its heart is the iconic West Lake, a landscape so perfectly composed it feels more like a living painting than a real place. The shocking truth? This idyllic scenery is almost entirely man-made. For centuries, poets, scholars, and engineers meticulously dredged the lake, built causeways, and planted gardens to perfect its beauty. The ambition was not to conquer nature, but to refine it into a perfect expression of poetic and artistic ideals. Hangzhou is the ultimate testament to the Chinese aesthetic, a city where every willow branch and every ripple on the water is part of a timeless masterpiece.